Hello, everybody, and welcome to this week's book look. This is basically one inker, many different pencilers. See what a difference an inker can make on many different pencilers. In this Batman Brotherhood of the Bat one-shot square-bound Elseworlds book, it has a wraparound cover. As you can see here, you've got the talents of Jim Aparo, Jim Ballant, Brett Blevins, Norm Brayfogle, Vince Giordano, Tom Grummett, Mike Manley, Graham Nolan, all inked by Joseph Rubinstein. I bought this one because, well, I like Batman, but two, I like every penciler in here, and Joe Rubinstein is one of my favorite inkers. So I like seeing his style over these different artists. And it gives you the breakdown. So Jim Aparo did 1 through 14, 23 through 33, 64. Then it goes to Jim Ballant, 55, 56. It's an alphabetical order in the table of contents. Brett Blevins, Norm Brayfogle, Vince Giordano, Tom Grummett, Mike Manley, Graham Nolan, Joe Rubinstein, pulling it all together. Joe's great. He comes from like the Neil Adams school. I believe that's where he was trained and such, under the tutelage of Neil, Dick Giordano. And he has a very recognizable inking style. He's one of the first guys who, growing up, I could look at and go, oh, that's Joe Rubinstein, kind of like Terry Austin. This book came out, just so we have a time frame. Oh, my God. Of course, why would the indicia be there on the front cover? It is here. This book came out in 1995, so 30 years ago. Woof. So this is Jim Aparo, and you can tell that is a typical Jim Aparo type body, but it's got great Joe Rubinstein inks on it. Joe really solidifies things, I think. He does great textures and stuff. You can really tell on big faces, but even figures, like the way Joe does chest muscles and abdominals. And the thing is, Jim Aparo and most of the artists in this book are more old school in regards to penciling, from the standpoint of inkers could interpret their work. So you could look at a Jim Aparo and go, oh, Mike DiCarlo inked it, or oh, Dick Giordano, or Jim inking himself, compared to pencilers around the same time, but newer guys that were just so tight. It was just, the inker didn't have much to do. I love this. I look at this and I go, man, if I know Jim inked his own work, but if Joe would have inked it on Batman towards the later years, toot sweet. Great face here. You can kind of see what I talk about with the boldness of the lines, kind of that in that Neil Adams vein, Dick Giordano vein. This face here especially. Don't ask me what the story's about, because I don't remember. I am glad that Jim did a lot of this book, so I could see Joe doing different or more inking over Jim than anybody else. That's what I mean to say. Guys, I was in Kentucky over the weekend for a convention. I'm still a little sleepy, even with falling back. All right, this is still Jim. It said 1 through 14. Like the textures back here on the cave. Love the wrinkles, the way he does that. And then this spread, actually, if I remember right, these are all drawn by the different artists in the book. I don't think Joe inked these little drawings. These were all done, obviously, larger, and they statted them in. One of the reasons I hate square-bound books in the middle. Come on, guys. Don't draw something in the middle. You lose stuff. Different Batman costumes. I think that's pretty freaking cool. Page 14, last one there. It almost looks like John Byrne. And then we get to page 15, who is Tom Grummett. All right. Tom Grummett, DC staple for a long time, working on Superman and such. This is cool. This is one of my favorite spreads. You can really see Tom here in this figure, the way the abs are. You can see it in the faces too, but still, if you look at the inking, Joe is really unifying everything with his ink line and the way he renders and such. I wonder who owns this spread. This thing probably go for some good money. This is still Tom Grummett, I can tell. Actually, wait a second. Oh, I take it back. I knew it. Not necessarily there, but this face, this is our buddy, my fellow professional, Graham Nolan. These faces really, this. I have to ask Graham what he thinks of this. I like Joe's inks. I wonder if Graham is a fan. Not sure. I wish Graham, I haven't looked at this in a while. Maybe he did get to draw a big shot of Batman. Page 20. Yeah, Graham did 18 through 22, I believe. Let me see. 18 through 22, so we're still looking at Graham. I'm assuming this is Graham's design right there. Total Graham face. Really like it. Graham, of course, had a long run on Detective, worked with a lot of great inkers on it. All right, this is page 22, I believe. Yep, so that's Graham's last page. Then we're back to, I believe, Jim Aparo. Let's see. 23, the next 10 pages are Jim Aparo. I knew it from the outline of this figure. And this was, towards the end of Jim's career, long storied career. And, why I do think he needed an inker, because I don't think he was doing himself as good as he used to in his prime. I think having somebody like Joe do it really shows that Jim still had it going on. You just pair him up with the right inker. I love the way all this foliage is done. These fir trees back there. It's Aunt May. Just kidding. But hey, if Jim ever worked for Marvel and drew Spider-Man, there's probably what Aunt May would have looked like. All right, last 2 pages on this sequence by Mr. Aparo. Who is next? Oh, I don't even have to look at the credits. This is Norm Brayfogle. Now, Norm's stuff, his figure work is very stylized. So, I mean, this is total Norm. I love the way Norm draws his figures, or drew his figures. He passed away a few years back. His anatomy was really cool and stylized. But you can still see in the rendering and the outlining and such, Joe's influence on the inks. That's pretty freaking cool. Armored Batman. Let's see, page 38. That is still Norm, but page 39, Brett Blevins. Knew it. 39 through 45. That's a Brett Blevins figure. Brett Blevins does great heroes. He's a fantastic artist. His women are just the best. I mean, go look up Brett Blevins. He's been doing, I think, more animation storyboards lately for years. But when he draws comics, got all the Batmobiles in there. Once again, if you look at like the rendering on the arm here and the torso, you can definitely see Joe's rendering style, Joe Rubinstein, the way he interprets the anatomy and such. And it's all because none of these guys are super tight pencilers. This is one of my favorite Batmobiles right there. Coupe. So that goes through page 45. Who picks up after this? That looks like Mike Manley. Let's see. Mike Manley, 46 through 52. Mike is more of an old school, traditional type artist with his work, not as exaggerated and such. Once again, in here, you can kind of see Joe's outlining and the way he does the rendering and such. 49, I believe, is Vince Giordano pencils. Vince's work out of everyone in this book is probably the most stylized, probably my least favorite. Vince's work is, I think it's okay. I just don't know if it's right for superhero stuff. And then page 53, I want to say, yeah, 53 and 54, Graham Nolan back at it. Right there. You can tell by the faces and his panel layouts and such. Very nice. Great shot here. Batman. I love the way Graham does his cape. But once again, you can see Joe's influence, or not influence, but style on the inks. And then page 55, Jim Ballant, or the 55 and 56. Jim's work, I do like it, but I think Joe brought nice life to it with his inking and his line work. You can really see it in that face. Page 57, I believe we're back to Vince Giordano. 57 through 63. Yes. Kind of has a, is it Kevin O'Neill? I know he passed away, if I got the name right, but that's the vibe I get from this stuff. This is a little harder to see Joe's influence because of Vince's style is so strong. Now, if these were breakdowns and Joe was doing finishes, you'd see definitely a lot more. But and then page 64, we finish with Jim Aparo. And once again, I love Jim's work. I've been a fan of Jim's work. I first discovered his work on Batman and then Aquaman, Deadman, Spectre. Big fan of his work on The Outsiders in the 80s, Batman and Outsiders, then The Outsiders. And at that point in the 80s, 90s, I think Jim would have been better served, teamed up with good inkers. And I know there were some on Batman towards the end of his run. Mike DiCarlo did a good job inking Jim Aparo as well, I thought. But hands down, I love what Joe did. And Bill Sienkiewicz actually inked some of his work as well. So there you go. Let's see if this says who did the cover. I wonder if it was a jam cover. Colors, color seps, letterer. Doug Munch wrote it all. It does not. I will have to ask Graham, because this cover, this is a Breyfogle looking figure right here of Batman. That's Brett Blevins. This could be Grummett. That could be Ballant. That looks like Tom Grummett. This could be Graham. That looks like Vince Giordano. So I think it's a jam cover. So featuring designs and artwork by. So 50 years from now, the world will be full of Batman. The world will be in big trouble. Great book to get. if you can find it, I suggest you get it. Check it out. You can do a deeper dive on the inking and comparisons from penciler to penciler if you actually own the book. Hope you enjoyed the video. Check out Kor-Drath, The Awakening now, live on Indiegogo. You want to know about it? Check out the trailer. Click the link below. Take a few minutes, scroll through the campaign, and please go back. Kor-Drath, The Awakening. It's because of your backing and support that allows Dennis and I to do this book for you guys. Thanks, everybody, and we'll talk to you next week. Bye-bye. Like, subscribe, and share.